Yes, there is a God's Not Dead 4, but I am here to tell you that sadly, it does not take place in outer space. I honestly don't know if the people at PureFlix pay attention to reviews or take them seriously, but sometimes it feels like they do. They have gotten better as a movie studio since their breakout hit God's Not Dead in 2014. The writing and directing quality has improved. They've got tons of other genres, such as rom-com series, revenge films, rom-com action films, plus there's an upcoming series based off their Revelation Road movies, a trilogy of films I honestly liked. Even God's Not Dead 3 was a major improvement over the first two, as it was a good forgiveness story, and each character, no matter what side of the religious debate they were on, felt humanized and very fleshed out. In the fourth film, God's Not Dead, We the People, it's less like that third movie and a bit more like the first two in the series, with the villains being pretty cartoonish. All of which I am honestly okay with, mainly because it's been a while since there's been one like this released. I missed this. The film is about government officials targeting Christians who are homeschooling their children. I don't know if I'm the right person to review this, in that I have no idea if this is an issue or not. I don't watch the news. And the only reason I ever go on Twitter is to post links, reply to friends, and click on these kinds of tweets. Ooh, Screwballs was released 39 years ago. Like... And, my choice between these four, The Burning. But I'll tell you exactly why I still want to watch this. One, I've done videos on the other three movies, so I kinda have to. And two, it's a movie starring David A.R. White, who is guaranteed to be awesome in the movie. And he is! Even in my angrier days of reviewing the other films, I have always maintained this guy is one of our most underrated and likable leading men in movies today. And that guarantees I'll buy a ticket to whatever he's in. And this one will still be epic, with a logo that looks like the Paramount logo dissolving into the first shot of an Indiana Jones movie. You can play religious movie bingo with this film, hence the opening shot. American flag, check. And not only is Ronald Reagan back for his movie comeback, he's also got top billing. See, it's almost like Indiana Jones, which reminds me, I really do need to spotlight his own indie adventure sometime. David A.R. White, of course, returns as Reverend Dave, but I am open to the idea that this is also Beckman.
Let the spirit of your father speaking through you.
Yeah, only thing trickling down in this room are these bullet casings. But ladies and gentlemen, we have a poster and a title. Unfortunately, it does the 1 week earlier thing, which has left me confused. Is it 1 week earlier from this? Now I want a God's Not Dead 80s movie. The film also stars Antonio Sabato Jr. as Mike, the father of the homeschool pancake family.
Why can't I get my pancakes to come out round? This one looks like Australia.
The government will need to take your kids on account of not eating waffles. If the movie already seems different than the third, it's because it does have a different writer and director. The film is directed by Vance Null in his first feature, but he did serve as editor on the first two movies. Plus, it's written by Tommy Blaze, writer of other PureFlix movies, car guy from the first one, and most importantly, Rachel's boring date Carl on a season 1 episode of Friends. I am working to keep the characters straight here. At first I thought that single mom Taylor was the evil liberal blogger from the first one, but no, she's not in this, which probably means she's dead. But we've got other returning characters.
The persecution of people of faith is much worse now than when I left.
Martin Yip is back, and he mentioned persecution for the checklist. And that's Aisha, the Muslim daughter from the first who converted to Christianity. In case you're wondering where they've been, their parents still won't talk to them.
I don't think that Christianity could be so...
Lonely?
Maybe the problem is you. you. You both smell like someone dropped Jim's socks in the holy water. When Reverend Dave comes over to teach the homeschool kids theology, this movie is a great commercial. I want to be homeschooled now.
We're talking about Noah. Open your Bibles.
And thus Noah said, I wish that water would come over here. Sadly, they are interrupted by social services, who may be a cyborg.
We've switched to unannounced visitations. May I come in?
By God, this is like a villain generated by the most stereotypical of Twitter accounts.
Is Miss short for Miss or Mrs.?
I identify as self-partnered.
I would ask, what does that have to do with anything? But technically, that's slightly more character development than Ray Weiss got in part 2. Naturally, she wants to take the kids away because they are being taught about Noah.
And the animals? What exactly was the sin that required their destruction?
I hope that it turns out that she's an atheist because she lost her dog or something. There's a lot of subplots in this one, another thing that makes it more like the first two, like Taylor needing help with her son. Even when he sets his toys out to stop intruders, it just seems sad. This wholesome bonding moment won't stand if the evil politician has his way.
The country is just now beginning to realize that unity means winning under our terms.
Because he's played by William Forsythe, that's how you know he's evil! Or he's the offspring of Justice Potter Stewart, who Forsythe played in Roe v. Wade. He is out to create legislation that will supposedly improve education. That means carrots in every lunchbox and a fisheye lens in front of every mailbox. Also, if you teach about Noah, we'll sue your ass off. Get back to Reverend Dave, it's why I'm here.
Oh, hey, you two.
Yes, you two. I haven't seen you in a while. What's your names again? Now they're involved with the homeschooling case because in this country they can be taught what they want.
It's how the court defines liberty. The Constitution is an amazing document.
Yeah, okay, kiss ass. I'll help make you a pastor, just stop sucking up. It is the shortest in the series, as the movie is only 90 minutes, but there's still the comedy subplots too, like the teen son who wants to buy a car.
Well, it'd be great if I could get some pictures or...
He's gonna figure out some way to sorbo himself with his own car, isn't he? Anyway, Dave encourages them to fight City Hall, but in my favorite part so far, he warns them that it'll be a headache, as he flashes back to the other movies like it's Nom.
Court costs, attorney fees, communities become divided.
See, I told you, Reverend Dave is about to snap. He just seems exhausted by these plots.
It's a time-consuming, draining experience that rarely ends the way that you had hoped.
Well, I think the other three movies had happy endings. Well, except for Sorbo. Plus, I'm sure the Christian family will win. The judge is Judge Janine from Fox News. Again, I have questions. Judge Janine played herself in part 3 and now is playing Judge Neely? This is either a doppelganger or a conspiracy. And the social services worker is so evil, I wouldn't be surprised if she takes the kids away on account of Antonio's dad harassing our hero in Thunder Warrior, leading to the destruction of the town with a bulldozer. I believe what's happening is the kids will be forced into the public school system unless the parents comply with the guidelines of No Noah's Ark.
To either conform to the district supervisor's recommendation or enroll your children in accredited school.
And if we refuse?
Well, you could just put them in private school. That's where I learned about Noah and was introduced to Second Glance and Carmen. Also something jail and fines.
Therefore, if your children do not show up at school, you will be fined $1,000 a day for the first 2 weeks.
Oh, that's okay. He can use his Melrose Place royalties. The movie is also a crisis of faith story, as Aisha is still on the outs with her family, and sure, there's a lot of plots here, like I said, but on the other hand, it's good this storyline is getting a follow-up, because it did just kinda end in the first one, with her going to a concert after being kicked out of the house, like that solved everything. I am all for old characters coming back. If that means this series' version of a Force ghost can also come back, as Reverend Jude, who died in the third one, is here in a flashback.
They don't say, oh, I have to go to church today. They say, yes, it's Sunday. I get to go to church.
Everyone else loves Reverend Jude. Still, my favorite ongoing thing with the movie is Reverend Dave not really knowing who he's talking to and finding difficulty in keeping the characters straight.
Wait, what? Who is this again?
Reverend Dave knows a lot of people being sued by the government. You're going to have to be more specific. Okay, it's the homeschool parents. I'm all caught up now. Yes, I think you should fight City Hall.
With all due respect, Dave, you're not the one on the hook for fines.
Oh yeah, you should see my family video late fees. Like hell I'm ever returning Murder Cycle. But now is the time to take this fight to Washington, D.C., where I remembered, oh right, that was the opening scene. This is a lot to have happened in 1 week. And if it's t-shirts you need to pack, this is the perfect opportunity to advertise our new limited edition shirt at our Snob store. That's right, designed by Shaun Millington, you can now own the glory of Bat Pussy on your chest. Prove to your enemies that you ain't no wash tub, and to stop all that banging in your fair Gotham City by going to our Bonfire store and purchasing this shirt, you son bitch. It's only available for a limited time, so click on the link in the description and in the comments and get yours while it lasts. Now that we're back, don't worry about the kids. They're being babysat by sitcom jokes.
Do whatever she says and no arguing over bedtime, okay?
Mom, really? I got this.
Okay, but you'll have to raise yourself when Dad and I are doing 20 years hard time for teaching you about Jonah and the whale. For some reason though, if there's one thing that's remained consistent in this series, it's endearing car banter.
There's a statue of Darth Vader's head on top of the National Cathedral.
What?
What?
If the fifth movie is just these two on a road trip, I'm there opening day. I like this plot way better than Teen Son Got a Car.
I mean, this is my first car and all. I look a little older than my age.
Yes, we know you're not a teenager. Now answer me these questions about your filmography, such as what in the hell is DJ Cinderella? I think this is his love interest, until she needs to take a call from her mom.
Yeah, I'm here with the boy who found my car.
Yeah, we're done here. It's about to get weird. Like when Aisha tries reconnecting with her dad, last seen beating the shit out of her, and now he sits alone in a dark room, seething with anger. Damn, every plot is sad. Taylor even lost her job and can't provide for her kid. No wonder Reverend Dave is terrified something else will come up.
Okay. There's something else?
Ugh, you're not being sued too, are you? Why are you all so depressed? Why do you keep getting persecuted? Her husband even died in a terrible accident.
My husband left for an Air Force training mission, and that was the last time we saw him. Equipment malfunction.
An engine fell on his head and shot him straight into hell like Yosemite Sam. But another thing for the checklist, mentioning freedom like it's a political ad.
Jackson becomes the label the state pins on him, and why his father died, I feel like would all be for nothing. Why? Defending our freedoms.
Thank you. At least I understand these lines way more than the teens texting each other. You're texting too fast. I don't know your abbreviations. For the love of God, just respond with a gif of me saying sure or something. Okay, I think she agrees to go on a date with him, somewhere that serves freedom fries, but they are missing out on some narration.
7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty.
They will win this case. They're quoting the classic Star Trek episode, The Omega Glory. Okay, you're on a date. You can take the name tags off. Reverend Dave isn't around, so you don't need to remind him who you are. Get back to the history lesson.
The pillars represent the states and territories that sent men and women to serve under the U.S. flag during World War II.
Okay, this may feel like padding, but not only do I want to tour DC with these two, but I want to get lunch at the Union Station and shop at the America store too. This even continues at night.
The Washington Monument is 55 feet at the base and 555 feet high.
Ugh, damn it, Martin. I have to prepare for the trial. It's 2 in the morning. I don't need you to read the Bill of Rights to me a third time. He'll find a way out of this.
I need to take this.
Where have you been? I asked you to call me 3 hours ago to be my excuse to leave. I am so tired. The caller is Isaiah Washington as Congressman Smith. And Reverend Dave is still far too tired to understand why the government is putting political agendas in textbooks.
Homeschooling is like a weed to these folks, and they just want to yank it out.
But why?
Because we need a damn villain. It looks like not even Dave has time for the congressman's silly arguments that the government is slandering our forefathers.
They'll tell you that they were all a bunch of old and rich oppressive slave owners.
But weren't they?
No, you fool. George Jefferson never owned slaves. I saw every episode. As for the forefathers owning slaves...
And as far as owning slaves, absolutely some did, but many did not.
Checkmate. What do you say to that, Reverend Dave?
Gotta admit the pizza isn't sitting well with me.
No, it's me. I'm heavy.
The Unos at Union Station isn't the best. I know the movie's getting intense, but rest assured you have nothing to worry about. The country music montage is here.
Oh, God is good.
Where are the newsboys? I'm sure they're doing what I'm doing, which is preparing for the twist.
Kayla, have you found Grammy's earring?
Brandon brought it to me.
Who's Brandon?
Yeah, Judge Janine is her mom, but that's not the twist I'm talking about. Boom! You just got sorboed. Enough car tragedies, we got documents, bro. The more evil a character is in this, the more documents they carry. Watch as their case takes a hit.
Shame about Abercrombie.
Heart attack.
Oh, he was a dinosaur. Time for the old centrist to be put out to pasture.
Did you murder the centrist chairman so they could be replaced with the extreme liberal out to cancel homeschooling? Personally, though, I'm more interested in whether or not he's still sick from the pizza.
Reverend, I trust that Jimmy's pizza didn't give you nightmares?
That's not what kept me up last night.
It was all of you calling me about your problems. Find a babysitter and let me sleep. Unfortunately, it will be much harder than they think to win the case, due to everyone in DC wanting them to crash and burn.
If God is for us, who can be against us?
Around here, just about everyone else.
We were as surprised as everyone by the election of Senator Satan Blutarski. Sorry, that may be a dated reference. I need to talk more like the hip kids in this movie.
My parents are in Washington.
As in DC?
Wow. I bet they must be pumped.
They are up in that jam, funky fresh, getting jiggy in the DC, fighting for their right to pray, 'cause senators just don't understand. Sadly, he is warned that Chairman Benson has taken over, so they must defend Christianity after their bathroom Bible off.
At that time, you'll be given what to say.
For it will not be you speaking, but the spirit of your father.
Your ear fly is open. So yeah, as you can see, it's a courtroom movie, which does make it a little too much like the second one. Also a courtroom film that had to do with education. This one might be a little tighter though, as it is shorter, so the evil experts can get out their sinister lines sooner.
Once we determine what every child needs to know, it becomes imperative that every child know it. After all, the children belong to all of us.
Damn it, we need to put a stop to these schools eating our children by turning them into sloppy joes. The homeschooled parents point out that the standardized testing of their students are much better than the others in their school district, and they prefer homeschooling because they can also teach about Christianity's role in history and how it applies to even Thanksgiving.
What about Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving, you know, pilgrims, turkeys, Native Americans.
And football, of course. Oh my god, I forgot the game! It gets so heavy with its subplots that it even interrupts Reverend Dave's speech by cutting to Taylor talking to her son, who misses her. And sometimes I still feel like I accidentally switched over to Beckman.
Where is Aisha Muradi?
Because I think a competing hitman is after Aisha. Oh, it's her dad, sorry. I admire that they're giving this story a redemption arc without being another conversion story, and it's not sugarcoating it either. It does flash back and show the horrible things this guy did to his daughter. It is a part of the movie where it does seem like they listened to criticism of the first film. Yeah, I guess closure is good and all, but I need Taylor here to talk about how she knows the Bible isn't anti-science because she's not just a waitress, but
I completed an advanced degree in aerospace engineering and worked as a systems engineer at the National Aeronautics and Space Administration.
Ooh, they are this close to taking the series to space. It even talks about Buzz Aldrin taking communion in space and the astronauts reading the book of Genesis. They probably needed this expert, because the movie does have a narrow view of how the Christian parents would have to defend themselves.
There's a common misconception of homeschool parents, particularly those of faith, that we're some kind of flat earthers.
I may be wrong, I just don't think they would have to go to Washington to announce that they're not flat earthers. That's not even the most awkward part. Dinner is.
It's kind of weird to find out that your mom is the one who's sending your friend's parents to jail.
Your friends put a giant dick on a Thomas Jefferson statue. Do you know how much sleep the congressman lost because of this? Do you need to know why she hates homeschooling? Like everything, it's because it's racist.
Homeschooling is separatist, elitist, and racist, Kayla.
This is only because she remembered what happened to her dad when he homeschooled in South Park.
See ya, Cotswolds. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, see ya.
They might as well be big bullies. Even when they're away from the trial, they still sit around mocking the defendants. Even in the courtroom, Reverend Dave is just annoyed by their talking points porn.
But surely you recognize how offensively patriarchal and sexist the Bible is?
Is that a legitimate question, or is that just your chance at a soundbite?
Hold your tongue, Reverend. I'm about to get thousands of likes on Twitter for this. The court scenes are random. There's one where he's defending the Bible by talking about how pro-feminist it is. So a lot of this is just kind of a collection of various defenses of the Bible, just loosely connected to the homeschooling case. Hell, the Judge Janine scene with her daughter talks way more about the homeschooling argument than the previous scene did. I'm honestly surprised by how much of the movie she's in. It is more than a cameo, and regardless of her show, she's really not a bad actor here. I believe her approving nod after being won over by her daughter. She's really just happy because it's corn chowder day. I feel like this would be an open and shut case in favor of the parents. But sure, I'll watch more scenes of the heroes defending the parents' rights to God's truth.
Truth is truth for everyone and everywhere. Even if over time it loses its popularity.
He is so likable that it doesn't matter what he's talking about. I'm like, F yeah, David A.R. White! You stand up to William Forsythe, who tells him in private that there is a real purpose to this hearing, which is just all for show. They've already decided on how they're gonna rule because, in his own words, no one watches C-SPAN. Yet when we come back, I'm sure the parents will still win.
And now it's time for Lloyd's Out of Context 911 Lone Star Clip of the Week.
Nancy, tell him to stop yanking on him.
Those are nuggets. I knew it, liar. They said they were out of nuggets.
Whoa.
That's how this whole thing started. You're a liar.
Well, when you're hungry, you're hungry.
We are back, and we can't return to the courtroom yet because I am loving these lines.
I'd be careful about going to war against God's church. Scripture promises the gates of hell will not prevail against it.
Again, there is an action movie just waiting to break free from this.
This is not hell, Mr. Hill. This is Washington.
Close enough.
They are having a line-off. I am all for it. These quotes are getting even better as the scene goes on.
For 2,000 years, men have tried to get rid of Christianity. What makes you think that you can accomplish what they couldn't?
They didn't have an 83% approval rating.
Yes, but what is the audience score? If you think these were hard-ass lines, wait till you see Muslim Dad at church.
You want to talk? Let's talk.
Like Harvey Keitel's church speech at the end of Bad Lieutenant if he showed up and kicked God's ass. He even offers to sacrifice himself in place of his daughter. Why do people keep dying in these? And there's a ghost now? Congratulations, you've adopted a ghost child. He's all yours. Why does this kid have to hang back while it's us who are still stuck on a tour?
The Bronx was cast in 1861 outside of Washington. Her name is Freedom.
It's actually Hildegard. No one has the courage to correct the congressman's patriotism. The movie's almost done, and so is the checklist. The only thing that's missing is there isn't a scene of the characters playing basketball. That's made up for by the characters speaking in more freedom dialogue.
We, the people of the United States,
Establish justice.
Ensure domestic tranquility.
And promote general welfare.
And secure the blessings of liberty. Liberty. Liberty.
This is a script that could have been punched up a lot. There are far too many slogan lines like that. But I do like that they begin talking to other homeschool parents who aren't religious, and some are liberal and some are conservative, but are still on their side as they show up to support them, even if they're still really only speaking in political ad dialogue.
As long as government overreach goes unchecked, liberty is threatened.
We're stronger together.
I am we the people.
We all are.
It's honestly a lot better written when it's the dad part, where it's like a God's Not Dead version of Home Alone, where Taylor's son is at church and bonds with the Muslim dad and gives him wise advice on how to repair the relationship with his daughter, and he gives the kid advice on how much his mom loves him. We are all caught up to the beginning, though, where it still flashes back to the other stuff from earlier in the film. There's still a lot of padding here, but I would legit watch David A.R. White star in a big budget remake of Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. You can even make it like the Simpsons one. Sure, we know he's gonna save the day in a final speech, but I really want one of these movies to settle things in a karate tournament. I don't even know why. The movie's got a lot of problems, but I do genuinely like the people who made it. Look, as you may remember, I spent years saying every joke under the sun about these films, some of which probably pretty below the belt. But even after all that, these people actually sent me a kind message when I was in the hospital last year. So yeah, they're good people in my book. And yeah, I'm sure I have some different politics than them, but that's fine. In a world where people send death threats to those they don't agree with, his speech at the end about all kinds of people coming together works, and even addresses how some of the previous debates in the movie were just done to fill the clock during these hearings.
You figured you'd run out the clock while we debated how women wore their hair 2,000 years ago. You got us all talking about how Noah got all the animals on the ark.
By lifting the animals over his head, clearly. It's still like most movies you've seen like this. Like how it ends with giant applause lines, with the music getting louder and the chairman screaming, "Order! Order! I said order!" Even movies nominated for Best Picture do this. Although maybe not as abruptly as this one.
We, the people.
Wait, what? Did he just patriot the movie to death?
Freedom is a fragile thing.
And then the ghost of Reagan delivered the not guilty verdict? Not only is everything solved in a montage, but with the ending credits playing over them. I guess it worked out fine. He's smiling, or his stomach finally stopped hurting from the pizza. Anyway, the teens are going to prom, the kid will be fine, homeschooling is continuing, Martin's dad still hates him, but where's the newsboys?
God's not dead, he's surely alive.
Thank you. It's the only thing that summons the ending hashtag. Well, that was, again, pretty much just like the first two films. If the series ended at 3, it really would have gone out on a high note. So this just feels like a slight detour, even though it does provide some closure that was missing since the first. It seems like an obligation movie, the kind of sequel that's made because they can use whatever it brings in to possibly fund more passion projects, like their upcoming Revelation Road series. I just wish the characters were more three-dimensional like in the third movie. But I'm just not really mad at this kind of movie anymore. Maybe because I'm older and have mellowed out over the years. I've just seen so many of these movies now that I'm like, alright, I do want to see what these characters are up to. Aw, Martin is still on the outs with his dad? Well, that's a bummer. Reverend Dave is reminiscing about Reverend Jude. It's nice to see these two on screen again. And if there's another movie, please bring back Dancing Pat Boone. And put him in an astronaut's outfit, because for the last time, we need one of these movies to go into outer space. God does need a starship!
I really appreciate you coming along and keeping me company.
Did you know that 2 presidents kept alligators at the White House?